Hey everybody, welcome to another video. So as I said on the last video, when I shot with the 56mm and the 50mm on the X-H2, I wanted to go ahead and take the X-H2 out with the 56mm to do some street photography because I felt the profile of the camera wouldn't be too bad and it'd be an easy carry. There's still some presence. So as you can see here, this is the X-H2 with the 50 on it. There, there's some presence on that, as you can see. But again, if you're out taking street photography, you can't always be super stealth, especially depending on the equipment you have. So want to go ahead and share my screen and basically show you guys some images I took with this combo and how I think the camera and lens did. Now, it being a 40 megapixel sensor, it was a very bright day. I expected that I'd be able to get some good detail and be able to crop in if I want to. So I did a little bit of editing on some of these, but really quickly wanted to show you how the camera and the lens handled the very bright day. And a lot of that has to do with, of course, how I utilize the features exposure triangle. This particular structure, which I believe is a water fountain of sorts, had a lot of bright sunlight reflection on it, as you guys can see. But I still believe that the camera and the lens did a good job in getting some detail for me. As you guys can see, I was shooting at f8. My shutter was super high because of the ISO, which I don't know why I had it that high to begin with. So as I took notice of the images, I decided, let me bump down my settings, get it to a more reasonable output, and voila. So this is this image with me doing some light edits. You can see a lot of good detail as I double click in. I knew this lens would do well outside with good light, just as well as it did in studio on the previous video. Excuse me. So as you can see, we got a lot of great detail on this statue here. You get all of the coloring and everything that was there for the lens to capture. I got good blur of the tree behind it, even as close as this was to the tree. I thought the separation was good. As I zoom in again, you can see that separation, that blur, and what the camera was focused on. As I zoom out and use the before and after, so here was what that image looked like straight out of camera, and here was what I was able to do in capture one, bringing some color back in, changing my Kelvin temp excuse me on there so that I can bring some more color back into this image. Alrighty, and as we go through a few of these, again, very bright day. You can see that before and the after. And on the after, I'm using the classic neg, as you can see up here, along with some adjustments to bring out more of a kind of excuse me, warm tone to the images, which is what I do for most of my street images. I'll use classic neg. As I double tap in here, and I got a little scratch, so pardon me. There we go. We've gotten that out. We got good detail here. As I double click over here, you can see good detail. So again, it may have looked a little washed out here, but look what I was able to capture in post. Look at the gentleman over here. Look, you got great detail on his jacket. As I go in another 200%, let's see what it does. And good detail still on the jacket, great detail on the trash can behind. As I zoom back out, I'm at f8 on this image, and I got a wonderful, wide angle shot with the use of this lens, trying to find a good, if you will, subject and backdrop to take an image of. So and I still got the cough. Again, a very bright day. A lot of texture out there in the buildings downtown Detroit to capture as I go to the before and after. This is on the after. Then I move this slider back over. You can see what it looked like at the time I shot it. And as I double click in to go 100%, we'll move around once this finished rendering. And you can see the detail even at the current settings I had at the time I took this. If I move that slider back over and get it to my taste, look at all of that wonderful information that I was able to utilize that this camera captured. I hands down, I'm super excited about the 40 megapixel sensor in the X-H2. I know folks will be excited about it in the X-H or X-T5, I should say. So I don't think that extra megapixels and the extra file size is a concern when you can get more information to play with on your images. And that's what it's all about. So this one is one picture I really liked a lot. I mean, just on the after, you can see all of the detail as we double click in on this building. I had some super highlight just on this row of windows, which I thought was a pretty interesting photo. As I move the slider to show you my finish, I think that brings out the character even more for what I like to do. And then as I double click to go back out, and look at that, and look at what I was able to do with that sky. I mean, just the flags themselves flapping, I thought that was good. And look at the detail it caught. Now, it shot it at 1/480th, if I want 1/480th of a second, let's say that right. But look at the great detail I was able to get. This is 100% zoom. So I can crop in a lot and get a lot of different aspects on these images, which is fantastic. Here's a rinse-in, and there's in the after. So what we'll do is we'll turn the before and after off, so you'll see all of these in the after. Here's that structure again. Street photography person in me definitely is going to come out. Saw this guy taking an image of this while he was walking, captured a few images of him taking the pictures, and I think this one is probably the best of the three images I shot. Really like that I caught him with the stride here and pointing back and taking a snapshot. So kids playing at the structure. Again, great detail you can see in this image. So actually, I'm pretty impressed with the 56 and what it was able to do. Just walking around with it, doing street photography. And I can't say that I would have tried the 56 previous version to do that, because the lens was just a little too slow in movement. This lens moved fast enough for me to capture and freeze folks, freeze these kids, as you can see right here, while they're running around, and still have great detail. You can't ask for anything more than that. So if you're one of the wedding photographer, or you a portrait photographer moving, or you do family portraits where we have little kids moving around, the 56 is definitely going to be able to handle it. The X-H2 definitely did a great job. I had this set for aperture priority, so I was letting the camera choose the shutter speed, which is why you see it change so often in the images if you've been looking down here as I move from image to image. And it did a great job. I think it did a fantastic job. Here's the monorail that goes around certain parts of downtown Detroit. I thought that was a good shot. I was trying to line it up with the pole, but I actually got it right with the pole. So I was hoping to get that a little bit before the pole. Here's the fist. And again, as I go in and double tap and then it renders, you see great detail there. You got all of the lines from when this thing was crafted in there. As I move it around and it re-renders, I think it did a great job on that. So all in all, guys, pretty happy with the way the 56 is going right now. Pretty happy with how it is handling on the X-H2 with the 40 megapixel sensor. I know that it was not designed per Fuji to take full, if you could say, utilize the full scope of that 40 megapixel sensor, but dang, based on the files you just saw, I think it's fantastic. So I was asked about bokeh, as you hopefully saw in some of these images, and actually, you know what? Let me I'll bring the image of the fist back up, and you'll see on that, as you look at the glass and that separation in the bokeh, I think it does a good job of blurring out the background. The bokeh is going to be phenomenal, but I'll see if I can do some low light with this on the next outing with this combo and get you guys some, I guess, bokeh examples. I'm really not big into that, so I just like to capture the image and see what I can do with it before I take it while I'm setting up a shot, and then in post. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what other comments, questions you might have, and I'll see you guys on the next video.